Did it? All right, we're recording it. Stop doing that update.
Well, welcome everyone. I'll wait for your go ahead, Sarah, when you want to start
Now,
101.
a couple minutes.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put my name
Get a
in.
sense of why she was narrowing in on Kyle.
Oh,
Yes, because she did ask me.
Noelle, I'm going to stop you just because you are not on mute.
Although it was very interesting.
Yep.
See, I'm a recovering paranoid, but I sure like it when I'm tipping in on other people's stuff.
Oh, I love it. Jim, while we wait for people, do you want us to start putting in our names and
Great.
organizations in
Yeah,
the
good
chat?
idea. Good
Perfect.
idea. Yeah, please do your name and the organization you represent, and if you like, your pronouns. I always love seeing so many beautiful faces popping up.
And Jim, I do see our main presenter, Dr. Layton is here. So whenever you want to start, I think you can go ahead
Great.
and wait for the rest to kind of trickle in.
Yeah, well, I don't know what time it is. Good afternoon, everyone. Jim Theophilus, he, him pronouns with North Star Advocates, and welcome to the Bridge Coalition's February 24th meeting. As you may have heard Sarah note, her good work and the work of young people. We have a great agenda for you today, and grateful for your presence. Um, I just want to remind you that North Star has a mission to uh, uh, end youth and young adult homelessness by strengthening families, communities, and young people, and holding the systems accountable that are designed to support them. And I would just say I'm here for the first half hour, and then going to need to take some legislative calls. But really excited for you to be here. And the other thing I should say, if I look more odd than usual, it's because I was at the eye doctor today, and so my eyes are dilated, and you all look beautiful, but very blurry. So, yeah, and I will turn it over to Mayana, please.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, eye doctors are sometimes those appointments are a little rough on the eyes, so cool. Well, before we introduce our first speaker of the day, I will just briefly go over like what the bridge is and the general goals of this meeting space for a refresher, and in case there's any new folks with us today. And this will also help serve to help everyone here understand our shared goals as well as the purpose of conversations we'll be having here today. And then I'll briefly introduce myself first since I'm speaking. I'm Mayana. I use all pronouns, and I'm a young adult with lived experience with North Star Advocates. So with that being said, the Bridge program focuses on youth and young adults exiting inpatient care, which in this case is defined as the carceral systems, mental or behavioral healthcare facilities, and rehab facilities. We have this focus because the data is clear that there is a high disproportionate rate of youth and young adults exiting these systems and consequently experiencing homelessness due to a general lack of support and resources post-care, but specifically largely accessible housing. And then with that context, the bridge more concretely has three purposes. So the first one is information and resource sharing, like this meeting today, for example. This first purpose really aims to communicate with our community partners like you all to ensure that we're more informed with up-to-date practices and research regarding the varying forms of support for youth and young adults from those systems. And we also share updates and bring information that we have to you all in an effort to community build. Two, we are, this is developing what we call the return to community planning, which is what we've named the discharge framework that we use for the bridge housing when youth and young adults are ready to return to community after having spent time at the housing. This framework was and is informed by youth and young adults with lived experience of homelessness in these systems to ensure that we're not just, a repeat of the frequent systemic discharges into homelessness. And we call it that return to the community planning because it's more intentional language that better reflects what we really want to do rather than calling it discharge planning. And again, what we want to do is have youth and adults return to community rather than homelessness. And then the third purpose is advocacy, of course. That's how we created and obtained the bridge housing to begin with, as well as these coalition meetings. And we continue to engage with youth and adults for input on the work that we do. Advocacy is central to everything that we do, and this coalition is a shining example of that. So with that, I believe I'm passing it over to Sierra.
Diana, I'm going to stop for just
Oh,
one
yeah.
and just hijack us a little bit and
Yeah, do it.
here afterwards. I'm actually going to quickly turn the meeting back to Jim, who's going to do a brief legislative update for us. And then after Jim, Sierra, you're up. And thanks, Maya.
Great. Thank you. And I'll give what my perspective of where we're at with some key issues. And I know we've got some powerful advocates on the line. We probably want to be brief here, though. What do you think in 5 minutes or so? Great. So I'll just start by saying today, I think we've got 16 days left in the session, scheduled to sine die on March 12th. One of the big issues that you've probably heard about is the millionaire's tax, which I think they should have called it the millionaire plus tax, because it's really taxing any revenue, income, paycheck over $1 million. The first $1 million is not taxed. But there was another big hearing this morning. You probably saw in the newspaper that we do have a budget deficit, and the millionaire's tax, although not sure when that money actually gets realized, it is part of both the House and Senate budget. And there's a little bit of creative tension, I would say, between the governor's office and the legislature, in that the governor wants more of that tax, that revenue that comes from the millionaire tax, to go back to the citizens by way of reduced taxes, particularly low-income folks, which makes really good sense to me. At the same time, I think the legislature is saying we need to use as much money as we can to reduce the deficit, including what we project next year, next biennium. And so the more we have, then the less taxes we'll have to do next year. So it'll be interesting to watch how that unfolds. And again, there was a big hearing this morning that some of you may have caught. Some bills that we've been tracking: 6239, tort reform. This is a bill that I testified against. In short, it was going to make it harder for survivors of abuse, if they were abused by the system years ago or at any point. This bill would make it harder for them to sue the state. They would have to go through arbitration and some other sort of hurdles before they could get to a courtroom. Many advocates were opposed to that. Many jurisdictions, cities, counties, state government was supportive of that, because there's been an increase in lawsuits and an increase in the size of the lawsuit, the settlements. And Washington really, it does have a major issue with how much they're spending. And some of us, my testimony was about, yeah, we should figure that out, and we shouldn't figure it out. The solution should not just be making it hard for victims of abuse to get compensation for that abuse while they're in state care. That bill has died, and I think some of us are happy and hoping that during the interim, there will be an opportunity to work on it in a way that's more supportable. Another bill that we care a lot about at North Star is 5940, the extended foster care bill led by the esteemed Charles Smith here from Mockingbird Society. And that's run into some roadblocks. I think we're hoping for a Hail Mary, that it might show up as an amendment for the House budget, and I'll get to all that in a quick minute. but that's one we care about and worried about. I will say 5911 is a good bill, and Lori Lippold, I saw her name, I think, Partners for Our Children. That right now, many people do not know, and this is something that we tried to address decades, 20 years ago when I was at Mockingbird. The state of Washington takes children's SSI payments to help offset their foster care, the cost of foster care. And we think that's outrageous, and that if the state's going to remove children from care, they should be prepared to pay for that care. And again, there's lots to that, but the good news is it's got some traction. It's in the Senate budget. And so we're hoping to see that gets in the final budget. I will say the House and Senate budget came out over the weekend. Relevant to this group, bridge housing is fully funded in the governor's budget, the House budget, and the Senate budget. And that's really, really great. The Bridge Coalition, this work here, is funded in the governor's budget and in the Senate budget. In the House budget, it was eliminated for fiscal year 27. So I've been doing everything I can to activate folks. We are also hoping that there might be an amendment tomorrow when the House Appropriations Committee finalizes it before it goes to the full House of Representatives vote. And so we've got the right people working on it. We're not doing a full-bore advocacy effort yet. Because I don't want to offend or disrespect the House chair. But I will say we've gotten some pretty powerful people, including some Republicans who care about this issue, also reaching out to the chair, asking that he restore that funding. I will again remind you that we're in the governor's budget and the Senate budget, so being in 2 out of 3 is a very good position to be in. But we're hoping to also restore that funding before it moves on to the negotiations. After all of this, the House will finalize their budget, the Senate will finalize theirs, and then the governor's office, the House budget folks, and the Senate budget folks get together and negotiate a final budget, which is where we really hope to be for both the Bridge Coalition and the bridge housing. I will tell you this, and please don't repeat it, and this is where I don't like being recorded. I don't want to let them off the hook. North Star is not going to let this coalition go down. We will find a way to get the funding, but we think we're doing good work and saving money for the state when we reduce the number of young people that become homeless after going inpatient. So we're going to, and you can't quote me on this, we're going to keep fighting like hell until it's over. There you go. I know that's more than 5 minutes. Thank you for your grace, Sarah.
Thanks so much, Jim. I think those are important updates. I am now going to pass the meeting back to Sierra, so you can kick off our SHB 1929 updates. Thanks, Jim and Sierra.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jim, for your updates. Hello, everyone. My name is Sierra Phillips, and I use she, her, they, them pronouns, and I am a young adult consultant with North Star Advocates with homelessness experience located here in Seattle. And I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Blanca Gonzalez with Friends of Youth and kind of give an update on the West Side House here.
Thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon, everybody. I first off want to say thank you to Jim for all you do, Jim, for getting the funding for these much needed programs. I hope you can hear me. Yes. Thank you. We are honestly seeing the need for this program and the results we are seeing in the aftercare follow-up calls that we do with the youth, the impact of the services that that the services have been doing for the youth, and the results we're seeing right now through the aftercare, and it's just a beautiful process to see. So I want to thank you and thank you, Sarah, and the whole coalition for everything that you guys do. I think this connection that we do month to month is very important. I do see Mar is about 2%, so I'm really excited. Thank you so much, Megan, for being here and taking the time. I think for me, one of the trends or for the program here at Friends of Youth that we've noticed, and I think I mentioned it before, the importance of coordinating with inpatient facilities, prior to the young adult coming to Bridgepoint is very important. I don't think we realize how important that is. I think the contract, allows us to, if we have the beds within the last 30 days, if you have exited the inpatient. The thing with that is that when young adults go into the community after being in an inpatient facility, they are exposed to so many things, and they are more likely to not be as successful as if they were coming from an inpatient facility straight to Bridgepoint. And so that gap really hurts them. So I do ask us to take that into consideration and really see what that means to them, to us as a program. I think we've seen that when we coordinate with the inpatient facilities and we're able to accommodate a smooth transition from them to us right away, they're more likely to have more success in the program. They're more likely to engage in the services. And it's just a much better, smoother transition for the young adults, more trauma informed as well. I think as far as SUD goes, it's really hard. They really do go through a lot, and oh man, all the services, at least the group that we have here, they have been really trying, engaging, and I have to really give it to them. The SUD portion of all this is huge. When we just have young adults that are coming in for just mental health and not really SUD, we see a little more success, I guess you could say, in stability. But when you're navigating the SUD portion, it's really rough for them. So when we see them successfully complete the program, continue maintaining sobriety, and continue to go to their next placement, we get really, really excited because we know how hard that is. I think what we've noticed is when all those things come together and the youth really does engage in the 90 days, we are seeing that the 90 days are sufficient for the young adults. We haven't yet explored the extension. Luckily, we've been able to figure things out within the 90 days, but I do see, some situations maybe happening that would led us to ask for an extension. But I think for now, if everything's working, they're engaging in services, we're able to find the resources, the 90 days should be more than enough. I think that's it for at least on my end as far as updates. One major update though, as far as Bridgepoint on the staffing side, we have a new case manager. Their name is Natalie Barrero. She's currently doing onboarding, and so you will eventually meet her. And that's it for Bridgepoint at Friends of You. Thank you, everybody.
MJ, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. And also, sorry about all my crazy emojis. I keep pressing the wrong emoji buttons, but great stuff, Blanca. And MJ, go ahead, you're up.
Hello, everyone. My name is MJ Negron. I'm part of North Star Advocates, and today I'm introducing the program manager for Excelsior Wellness, Dylan Ramirez.
Hey, thank you, MJ. Hello, everybody. My name is Dylan Ramirez. I'm the program manager with Excelsior Wellness Center, he, him pronouns. Once again, pretty much to echo what Blanc was saying, thank you, Jim, and to everybody else involved for all the hard work that you do that goes into this whole process and for the programming. Really appreciate it. So, for our end, the program updates that I have is we're currently serving one Bridge resident and continues to operate with a strong focus for quality and structure, and we're working to continue with our long-term stability. Over the past months, we've really been prioritizing strengthening our screening and intake process to really ensure appropriate referrals and really clear alignment for the participants, what their needs are, and how that's going to fall into the programming and what we're able to support them with. We're really kind of continuing once again with screening tools and with that, along with what their needs are, looking at their end goals about, their placements and, the decisions to really help them towards the end of their 90 days. Our outreach efforts are still ongoing and very intentional. We are continuing to build relationships with community partners and our referral sources are going to continue to increase with the program visibility. Because our main focus as always is to have that steady and appropriate referral pipeline. While our census are, low, the work is being done in a very deliberate and strategic way to position the bridge program forward in a very thoughtful growth for our continued long-term success. Also just wanted to take the minute as well to say that our provider to provider meetings that are continuing to happen with Friends of Youth. We're finding that very helpful. And it's good communication that we're able to have with them and to utilize that time to see how their processes are going, as long with ours, to be able to have some good mirroring aspects for the programs. Long done everybody involved. Thank you so much for once again those continued meetings. They've been really beneficial. So from the programmatic side, that's my updates. Want to see if I can take a second to pass it over to our care coordinator, Maleka, so she can kind of give her updates in regards to our care coordination process.
Thank you, Dylan. So yes, I'm the care coordinator for Bridge in Spokane. I've been working on housing resources with our residents, employment resources, independent living resources, including gaining a driver's license, making sure that they have all the documentation they need for state IDs and job applications, things like that. I've been working on specific outreach with our emergency departments and our stabilization treatment centers here in Spokane, and have gotten some good feedback. And moving forward, next week I have a tabling event at our Spokane Homeless Coalition, and I'm really excited to be able to share with those folks our programs here at Excelsior and our services so that we can gain some more traction with our referrals. All I have.
Great. Thank you so much. And I also have an update from outreach too. Since the last meeting, I actually met with Ryan Kent from STARS, who's the executive director. We sat down together and he was so excited about the program. I invited him. He's going to come to the coalition and present on STARS in April. And I'm going to have introductions for you all in this group as a whole. And so I'm on the ground too. I know Josh from the county is here. We've talked about a couple ideas. So we're here to support you all in making sure Spokane utilizes this program. And again, I'm going to start bringing more people to the coalition. Oh, Josh, great. I see your hand up.
Yeah, good to see you, Maleka, and everyone here today. Yeah, just wanted to share that it might be helpful, and I don't know if it's going to be the best contact, but I can provide them to you, is that at each managed care organization, they have hospital liaisons that primarily work in Eastern State Hospital and getting folks discharged from there. But I'm pretty sure they also oversee community hospital inpatient stays. So it's kind of like certain individuals assigned who are, hospitalized at Sacred Heart or IMBH, of course, people meeting that criteria of the Bridge program here, that I think getting you connected with them, and I can, Maleka, send you or Dylan the email of those contacts to where maybe they're kind of working with someone who would meet that criteria, and if they have the information on your program, they can share that with the hospital and making sure that they get connected to that information. So I'm happy to do that. And it may be that they're not the best contact, but maybe their utilization management team who would know that stuff, who's authorizing that stay, would be able to make sure they can help facilitate a referral where appropriate. So um, just wanted to at least, I was thinking that the other day at a meeting Sarah and I were at, and so I can send that to you today, those contacts, and we can talk further if that's helpful.
And thank you so much, Josh. I think that would be really helpful. Dylan and Maleka, who should Josh connect with?
Josh can go ahead and reach out to me. I will be dropping my email in the chat right now. So thank you both and everybody that's included for the continued support.
Yeah, you bet, Dylan.
Great. Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate that. And thanks for reminding me because that was a good idea that you had. And let's also bring them to the coalition. Okay, with that being said, I get the pleasure of again introducing Dr. Matt Layton from WSU. Dr. Layton came and did a fantastic presentation, I think, in November, and I'm very grateful to have him back to talk about the peer-to-peer program. And so with that, Dr. Layton, I'm going to let you take over and do your presentation for the group. And again, thank you for your time and commitment to the field.
Thank you, Sarah. And it's hard to believe it's been 3 months, but glad to be back. And also Poppy, Dr. Poppy Gardner, postdoc, is on board. She's been participating, so she can add a little bit of context to how this program has been going. But first of all, I just want to say that I moved to Spokane in 1999 and worked with Excelsior and Bob Faltermeyer to try to provide psychiatric services. So I know just how challenging it is to do what you're doing, and I want to let you know how much I appreciate the work that you do. So I'm a psychiatrist. I was a medical director at Spokane Mental Health, in fact, until from 1999 to 2008. And then went to WSU to be part of the first WWAMI medical education program. And if you don't know what WWAMI is, it's a UW program, Washington, Wyoming, Alaska, Montana, and Idaho. And they started their first 20 medical student cohort in 2008. And so I came to WSU and taught them human behavior and continued to work at Sacred Heart with the psychiatry residency program until I had to close that UW program in 2014. And a lot of people can say, how did you, have to close a psychiatry residency program when the need is so great? And my response is usually, how much time do you have, to explain how we have this huge need and it's very difficult to meet. So I'm wearing multiple hats here today. The one I want to spend time on is a program that came about, and I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen because of a medical student who came to me and said, I think that I would have done so much better if I had had the opportunity to have a mentor, right? And her name is Piper Wright. So she came to me in 2020, was a first year medical student. She is now an intern at the University of California, San Diego, doing pediatrics. And what she said is, to be a pediatrician is to be an advocate. And I'm so excited to pursue a career in pediatrics to champion the child, empowering them to realize their fullest potential and achieve their dreams. And so when she came to me, what she said was, is there a way that we could develop a program like this? And so my apologies, I'm trying to get this to minimize, but my technology issues. The peer-to-peer mentorship program is funded by a program that was actually a foundation, SMILE, Students Mastering Important Life Skills Education, which was formed because the mother and father lost their son to suicide at age 17. Their names are Christy and Ted Torabara, and they formed Smile Foundation about 30 years ago. They they asked me to serve as an advisor on that board in 2000. So I served in that capacity for 25 years, moving forward small programs that could hopefully help with youth suicide education and prevention. So when they decided to close that down last year, there were some funds remaining, and they asked me for some ideas about how we could potentially use these funds to help continue the legacy of the foundation. And so they provided a donation to WSU Foundation, and we started a program called the Peer-to-Peer Mentorship Program. One of the things that it focuses on, and it's geared towards high school level, the first curriculum that we developed was only made possible by Sarah Spear's help. Sarah allowed Piper to attend peer support groups at Daybreak, and she learned so much from those young women and what they were dealing with, and she really wanted to help scale that up to not just those who are in residential treatment for addictions, but also all schools potentially. And she also spent time at Lumen Alternative School with pregnant and young mothers in their teens who also, many of them had substance use disorders. And so what she and I did was work over a period of time in our first year medical school to develop a curriculum geared first and foremost around peer influences and belonging. When you think about folks who end up using substances early on in middle school, a lot of times it's because of negative peer influences and belonging to a group because of trauma, because of past history, because of family circumstances or adverse childhood experiences. All those reasons that draw somebody to potentially use substances, often co-occurring mental health issues like PTSD. So we felt that the importance was positive peer influences and the ability to belong to groups where choices were geared towards healthy behaviors and moving forward with life, understanding your own emotions. So the first lesson in the curriculum is understanding the importance of social connection and its impact on behavior. Those of you here know that addiction can be isolating and can be a spiral where you tend to pull away from those who love you, want to help you, you burn bridges. And so learning how to interact with a healthy peer group is one of the things that we first wanted to emphasize. So we go all the way to the neuroscience of belonging. And remember, we're talking to high schoolers here for the most part. And we talk about social interactions that are crucial for brain health and overall well-being, positive social connections and activating the brain's reward system, how isolation and loneliness are linked to negative health outcomes, the stress that comes along with that, and how we emphasize connection leads to lower stress and improved mental health. It's one of the best coping mechanisms is to help others, altruism. It helps us, our own mental health and our own well-being to help other people. So we show them videos about, things like how friendship affects your brain and teach them basic lessons. And here are the learning objectives from the first. Let me see if I can do that. Sorry. Where'd you go? Okay. So session one. So we start out the year and we essentially have 8 lessons that cover, they're once a month. So students meet at the schools. Right now we're in 6 school districts, including rural and tribal communities. These are pictures from Chewelah and from Welpinit and from Springdale and now Freeman and Lakeside Plummer in Idaho. So we have the Spokane tribe involved. We have the Coeur d'Alene tribe involved. We are in their schools and now in their middle schools as well. So We start out the year with some leadership and team building exercises that I'll go into. But the learning objectives for the first session, and thankfully I have medical students from WSU also helping me with this. We want to identify signs of a healthy community. We want these kids to learn to be part of a healthy community and contribute to it. So, what factors influence someone's ability to build community? Discuss ways you maintain connectedness and barriers in adolescence to connectedness, and encourage mindfulness around community building. So, we get them thinking about where they live, who's important to them, who are they connected to, and how to build and preserve those relationships. The first thing that we do, this is a picture from up at Micah Moon. We take them zip lining and an aerial course for some team building and leadership. This is all paid for by the Smile Foundation. And there's Piper. And also we have school counselors and facilitators involved. They help lead the monthly sessions. We pay small stipends to the schools to support that. And the idea is we do these lessons. This is the aerial course. If you've never been up to Micah Moon, some of these kids would never have an opportunity to do anything like this without the funding from this program. They all appreciate it so much. And then we get together the next day to introduce them to the curriculum. We will be doing this again in May 7th and 8th, with another approximately 150 youth. That's the course. And then they are also there with their school teachers and superintendents. And so what I wanted to do was just roll that out there because I believe this model can be adapted to the population that I believe we are needing to serve, which is well, the folks that you just described earlier as you were reporting out, those who are being discharged from services, those who are aging out of young programs, those who did not make it through school. When I think about, I've been medical director for 2 different opioid treatment programs, methadone clinics. The average education level is about 7th to 8th grade for most of the folks, and that's because of the trauma that's passed on from generation to generation. And then the other half who end up in substance use have had something happen to them, like an accident, car accident, back injuries, motorcycles, four-wheelers, all those things, cancer, right? And they end up being treated with opioids, for example, and not monitored well. And so what ends up happening is limits get set on them or they get cut off, and then they end up going to the streets. So what I believe we can do is help this group that we're focusing on to help each other. And there are leaders within that group. There are peers. Peer support is critical, not only in mental health. Thank goodness we're finally getting payment for peer support within mental health, within substance use. It's critical to be able to lean to someone who's been there, to see examples, to see successes, to have the ability to relate to them in a way that's different from me as a doctor or professor or academician. It's more, they can relate to the medical students that much more than they can to me. They can relate the 8th graders to the 11th graders that much more. And so by giving them the skills to recognize their own, emotional self-awareness, recognizing distress, in other people, healthy behaviors versus risky negative behaviors, how to reach out, and then how to make that warm handoff, right? When they are in a problem that can be, potentially suicidal or in need of higher level treatment. We help them understand you're not the therapist here. You're not the counselor. You're the peer who's going to help get them to the person who can get them professional help. Right. So we have had commitments from the superintendents of some of these school districts, from the assigned mental health counselors. And so what we did last summer was we had the first annual Youth Suicide Education and Prevention Summit in June in Chihuahua. We had about 80 people there from all sorts of walks of life, and we're going to do that again on June 17th of this year. At Mystiqua in Chihuahua, we'll be making the announcements, save the dates very soon, but it's going to be June 17th. We would encourage participation, especially from youth and young adult providers, but we have first responders, we have politicians, we have advocates, family members, educators, and we have generated themes to move forward to try to help address the mental health and substance use issues of this group. And so I'm here today to let you know that this we own this. This is not something that we're taking from some. We've generated this, organically, and so we can adapt it however we want. We want to scale it up within the state of Washington, and so we're applying for more funds. And thankfully, we're talking with Sarah, with Jim, with North Star for about trying to figure out how so we can leverage funding to expand this. So I just wanted to get that all out there, let you know where I'm coming from. I want to let you know how much I appreciate all of you for what you're doing, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And like I said, it's just really good to be back.
Matt, thanks so much. And I'll open it up to questions too if anybody has them. But it's really impactful to see the full circle and the journey and to see you guys actually implementing this and working with young people. It just warms my heart. And also, I'll be there if I'm talking directly to any young people who are here that are on Spokane or the east side. If you want to come with me, if we can come, we're happy to
It's open.
so make sure you get that information to us too, so I can send it to this coalition as well.
I will distribute it to you so you can take it from there. And if Poppy wouldn't mind just saying a couple of words, she's been involved in some of these activities. She's done family night educations because it's not just about during the school day once a month. It's also about engaging their families. So Poppy, can you talk a little bit about your experience?
Oh yeah, of course. So hi everyone, I'm Poppy. I work with Matt on a bunch of different projects here at WSU. But to speak to this one, yeah, the family nights are incredible. I did one just recently being subjective. And it was just real great to have the parents come in with their kids and then even with the kids' younger siblings and just have everyone there sharing information about opportunities, help that is available, just stuff that these folks wouldn't often be presented with. And just having a chance to share like things that happen in the community, ways that we can help, ways that people can help each other. It was really nice. I'm very, I guess, like privileged and lucky that I had all that when I grew up. That was kind of just like common to me. Folks came into school, we had talks about stuff all the time. But I can also, take that step back and realize that not everyone does have these opportunities. So to then be, part of the team facilitating that for those who don't normally get it is just amazing. And Matt, I don't know if you want to speak to Jessica's position. We have an amazing coordinator who just like keeps everything running from above, and gets us in front of these kids and these parents and these families. But yeah, it's great. And if anyone wants to come along to the zip lining that Matt mentioned too, I did that last year and that was super fun. So
Yes, let us know if you're interested in that. They bus the kids in from all these school districts for these events. They want to support it, and they're seeing positive results. This is the third year we've done this. I forgot to mention that. And it is expanding. This year from Tooele, we will have 60 kids involved just in Tooele, 30 mentors and 30 mentees. The numbers are really amazing. And what I think is important to stress, as Poppy mentioned, Jessica Gerdes works in the College of Medicine, and that is more of a faculty outreach health sciences pipeline development. And we go to them with expertise. We bring ideas. We emphasize that we're there to help them. The peer-to-peer is more helping them within to develop their own leaders, and then have that be a generational thing where they understand the value and then it becomes self-sustaining. But happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I have one more thing and then I'll open it to the group. Also, Josh from the Spokane County said he was there last year and really enjoyed it in the chat. And Josh, feel free to talk, but I'd love to also have a conversation about maybe having some of the peer mentors come and present to this coalition or talk with some of our groups of young adults. So let's keep talking about what that collaboration and just elevating their voice and just more future advocacy and policy. So I'd love to connect more with them and with our group as well.
They are their own best advocates, and they have presented on panels. They're very persuasive because it's a direct impact on them. And then we also give them a certificate at the end of the year. So in June, it's nice to have you're 17, 18 years old and you have a certificate from WSU that you're a certified peer mentor. So
they're a great bunch, and like Matt said, no one speaks up for them as much as they do for themselves. Like, they're a great bunch. I am sure they would be very, very happy to come and do something like that.
I'd love to have them come here.
Yeah, they're good kids.
Great. Does anybody have any questions or comments or thoughts while we have Dr. Gardner and Dr. Layton? Okay. And I know
one
Jim.
thing,
Oh,
one
go
thing
ahead.
we're hoping for is to convene some focus groups from the population that this group is targeted to help. So what we're doing is we're trying to leverage our resources that are going into the peer mentorship with North Star, with community resources well, one of Poppy's strengths is interviewing and getting the narratives of people. In particular, like last November, we presented with folks with opioid use disorder, with parents, with losing custody of kids. This is the kind of thing that we want to get information from, those that we want to try to help, so we can have something coherent to put together as a curriculum for them to share amongst themselves. That's the bigger picture. So we're hoping to do that in the next few months, is to actually reach out and offer, who knows, something like a pizza night for people who are interested in this among the 18 to 24-year-olds who want to try to be a part of helping themselves. Um, that's the best way we get the information we need. I think you all, you know that. So we want to bring them together. We want to get information about how we can help advocate for them better.
Great. And happy to talk about that and talk more and bring that back to some of the people that are also involved with North Star and some of our advocacy groups.
Great. Well, thank you again so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Sarah. I know Jim had to run. He's got a lot on his plate. But we will be talking more. And thank you again for all you guys do.
Yeah, thanks for all the work that you all do as well.
All right.
All right. And feel free to
Take care.
stay, but I know you're busy. So if you have to go, completely understand. And
I'll send the announcement for sure. I will send the information about the summit in June.
Any information, and send me your PowerPoint too. That way I can put that in our notes, and I'll get everything sent out.
All right. Thanks again.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. All right. So with that, I have the privilege of introducing Megan Riley, who is with CMAR. And Megan, she's the coordinator and really does the housing coordinator, as well as a lot of other things. So I'm going to actually let Megan talk about her role. But again, part of the purpose of this coalition really is bridging, hence the name, inpatients, with the housing systems and bringing us all together. So I'm so grateful you're here, Megan, and I've heard wonderful things, and it's just been lovely to talk to you over the last couple of weeks. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, and you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for reaching out and inviting me on this panel. I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to talk about what we do here at CMAR, and thank you, Blanca, for connecting me. I am technically the discharge coordinator here, but I mostly focus on housing. CMAR is a nonprofit program that was originally designed to cater towards more Hispanic, but we serve everybody. The facility here that I'm at, I started with our male youth program, Renaissance, in the billing department, which is how I got kind of connected with CMAR. And then I I'm a certified medical coder as well. And so, starting with the billing, but it's morphed into wearing multiple hats as well. Here, the job that was created is I'm the first person that's kind of doing this here. The original or the director that was with me, or that I started with at the time, he wanted to focus on housing because we all know that housing and SUD and that need of making that connection is super important for success in recovery and sobriety. And so there was no real program set. One of the counselors here was kind of the go-to person. So it was really left up to the counselors to try and maybe find some place for the clients to land when they leave. I want to point out that we are really a 28-day SUD inpatient program. We are, which is a very short time frame to try and get things accomplished, or for the small time frame that we really have our clients. And the housing process starts when they get here. My process is that I look at the assessment. I really tune in to when I see young adults in the age demographic that we're talking about, because I think that is super important to get them at that stage, so that maybe they are not here 20 years from now, or because we do serve from 19 to however much. But like I said, when I get the young adults in here, I really tune into them specifically. And I'm Blanca is my go-to person. She is the person that when I see that age come across my plate, that I immediately call her to see if after I've assessed them, of course, and made sure that it's a really good fit for where they're at, because you have to meet people where they're at right now, and sometimes they're not really ready to be completely clean and sober, but anyway, we try in the 28 days to provide the SUD component of it. I like to clarify that we are not a dual diagnosis facility. We specifically focus on SUD, and we have a pretty good program that I think where we try and make it a reason to be here and be successful as well. And so part of our program is we do offer MAT services. We do have a psych provider that comes in twice a week to help medication management. If there is a higher needs person, I am noticing that we are getting more higher needs at our facility, and we have to make sure that we are clear on SUD versus mental health, because we are not a mental health facility. I would like to see more of that, honestly, or more programs for that combination. But the counselors will just focus on the SUD component. My process when I get them in here is I take a look at what their assessment says from the counselor. We staff every day about where our clients are, and we have a trauma-informed approach to our programming. I like to spend a little bit of time finding out a little bit about some of their history, so that I can tailor specifically their needs for what they're wanting and what they're needing, and that helps me kind of steer people to what is the most appropriate placement for them. People have their own agenda, so I can't always, you know, manage that. If there's other things going on, I can only go at face value. But I try to focus on the positives instead of some of the barriers that we have, and we do have some, barriers that sometimes get in the way of being successful with them, and sometimes it's language barriers. Sometimes it is family barriers with the younger ones that we tend to not focus too much on that. We work around it quite a bit, and when I'm only got 28 days to kind of find someplace, like I have one that I'm willing to advocate for the younger ones to keep them here. If I do have housing, like not immediately ready, we will manage it to hold on to our kiddos or our young adults if we need to, or if that is the component that is just the last final component is getting them into the housing. We will hold on to them to help them bridge that so that they aren't exiting to homelessness and or potentially getting, like Blanca said, having, things happen from here to there. So that is super important. In my goal as the discharge coordinator for them, I do try and follow up a little bit with the ones when they do leave to see if they, because I really support Friends of Youth specifically, and for that age demographic, and I'm always looking for other resources. The clients have been very helpful in giving me resources, things that I didn't know, because having started this position with no real guideline, I was kind of given carte blanche to make it catered specifically to my working style. And so that's I think been successful in where we've been managing to get the majority of people housed when they leave here regardless. But it's taken me a year to build those relationships and to find those people and to find the funding. And since we are mostly Medicaid, we specifically are only Medicaid, actually. The funds aren't there, or they're not always readily available. We have access to King County Oxford grants for 2 months, but last August, all the funding was gone and there was 0 grants to be had, and it was very difficult finding those alternatives, and other than some shelters, right? And I really don't want to have, if I can help it, go to the shelter system. I would really like to, I manage the expectations in that I will say, I'm here to find you a soft place to land. I'm not the person that's going to find you permanent housing. Unfortunately, because I don't have the time to do that in the 28 days, that window. But I can find them a soft place to land generally. So yeah. Some of the needs that I always find would be helpful is bridging the gaps and finding some more, having an easier pathway to find young adults that need, or just adults in general, people in general that would need a higher level of care. It's not an easy pathway to get clients to that placement within. I mean, I think it's still pretty good in Washington State, but and King County, but it can be difficult to manage getting it to that placement. So, but it's about, for us building relationships with our connectors so that we can get it done. And I spent a lot of my time researching what is available and making phone calls and emails and things like that to make sure that placement is correct for the people that are here, just not just the young adults, but everybody. So that's kind of my role. I don't follow up as much as I would like to. I do with the young adults because I'm interested in them. I want to see them succeed. But technically, after they leave here, we're technically not allowed to seek them out or talk to them, or what I mean. So I can't always follow up, but I do always, when they are leaving, I don't want to see you here again. Is my is what I say. Don't go out and go do good things in the world, but I don't want to see you here again. And but if I do see you out in the world, I would be upset if you didn't come say hi to me, right? So, because we make a connection, which is super important for the short time that they're here, that they do know that they have the support regardless, from their counselor, from me, from the program, for the places where they're going. So yeah. So I don't know if you have any other questions for what else I do, or
I'm going to jump in and just first say thank you so much for coming and doing this presentation. I was so excited to hear from Blanca and talk with you, and just know that an inpatient actually has a designated housing coordinator. Like, this is a big step, I feel like, for the inpatient world. So I just want to applaud you all. I'm also, as I'm listening to and I'm thinking about the people on the call, Rachel, I'm thinking about the blog post I'm currently writing, Rachel from Healthcare Authority, who's also on YARD, the discharge toolkit planner. Rachel, I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. But I'm going to send you some resources that you may already have. But I do have a question, because it is interesting, since you're in this role and I come from inpatient, has having Blanca and her team and the Friends of Youth, like a program like the Bridge and Bridgepoint, has that been helpful for you guys from an inpatient perspective to have that?
Super helpful. Like I said, she's my go-to person. She's the first person I call when I see that age come across my my census, and she's been super resourceful in helping me if I have some questions in that I could steer into a different placement if I have like a higher needs individual that I don't know would be a great fit for their program, but would need a little extra help and support, because it all takes a village, right? So I Bridgepoint is my go-to. They are my first call placement if the person that I have assessed is appropriate. Now, if they've come from the foster program, I will put a referral in with DCYF, because they generally need more wraparound services and support, depending. And I have a couple of contacts at the county as well, if I need to have, like I said, a higher level of care, which I am seeing a little bit more of. And that has, that adds a lot of time and attention to to some of the demographic that is here, and that's okay. But because I want them to see that they get the help that they need as well. But we do turn it back around to SUD, substance use, and that is what we're here for. And our program is, like I said, it's tailored specifically to everybody. But when I see that age coming through, that's where I really focus on putting a lot of my attention. So
That's fantastic. I just want to quickly alert you, and then I want to open it up in the chat. Malek, I'm glad you put your contact. So again, Megan, I did explain, but the mirror program, if you in Spokane, that your contact will be Maleka. And I'm sure you'll have
that's fantastic.
Yep, very similar experiences, and really creating that case management and a framework across the state. So Maleka and Megan, nice to meet each other. And if anybody has questions, now is a time we have some extra time, so I'll open it up. All right. Got a quiet group today. I might start calling on people. Just
well, I'm already going to talk to Blanca later today. So
perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking your time and doing the presentation. Oh, Rachel, you don't have a microphone. Okay, because I kept calling on Rachel. Thanks, Rachel, for that, because I kept being like, I know you got some stuff. So Megan, I will have some stuff I'm going to send to you. Also, again, the HPDF and the YDIB funding. Isaac, I see you on here too. So keep coming to the coalition, and I think you'll find a lot of different resources and people you can connect with. And you're welcome back anytime. And again, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate what you guys are doing here. I'm super excited and happy to have come across you and been included in this. And again, thank you, Blanca, for turning me on to this coalition. I think it's extremely important and needed, and I'm very happy to support this coalition in any way that I can. And thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you so much. And with that, we actually have a couple of minutes. I think we're going to end early, which for those who have been here a long time, I don't know if we've ever ended early. So I'm excited to give everybody back a little bit of their time. I do have a couple announcements I want to tee up. So in March, we do have foundational community support. Kimberly from the Healthcare Authority is going to come, and I believe with a counterpart, and talk to us about that. And again, Rachel, who doesn't have the microphone, thank you for facilitating that. We also have Sierra, one of our lived advocates, who's bringing in an amazing care team to talk about the importance of young adult identification of coexisting health information and health experiences. So she's going to put together a presentation on her personal experience and then talk with this care team that's doing amazing things. So really excited about that. And then in April, we do have STARS, Spokane Treatment and Recovery Services. It's an inpatient. Megan, that might be a really good contact for you as well. They're going to come. So we've got lots of exciting agendas over the next couple months. And if anybody here in this group has a topic or wants to present or has an agency that you would like us to highlight, please reach out to me. I'm going to put my email. Most of you have it, but just in case, I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, just continue to highlight the good work that's being done across the state. And with that, I'm going to end our recording and end our meeting, and we'll see you all next month. Thanks so much again.
Sarah, I don't know if you're still there.
I'm here. I need to end the record. I'm looking. They've moved. So hold on. Let me.